On the Gainbridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network. From Learfield, welcome to the Varsity House Birdfeed on the Ball State Gainbridge Network. Here is your host, Joel Godett.
All right, this is the Birdfeed Live, coming your way, presented by the Varsity House on the ISC Sports Network, breaking down Ball State's homecoming game against the Miami Redhawks this past Saturday. Joel Godett, head coach Mike Neu, Bryce Cosby joining us as well. And Mike, it's a weird day when you look back at Saturday because everything surrounding the day, the week leading up to it felt really good. The start of the game felt really good. The atmosphere was awesome. The students came out to support. The crowd was incredible. And the game ended, and I just sat there and I went, we won, right? Like, it was just like, it was almost like this weird what just happened moment. What hit you when you sat back in your office outside Schumann Stadium on Saturday night?
No question it was hard. Obviously, just as you mentioned, it was a great crowd, great day. Had a ton of recruits here for the game. Everything leading up to the game, just as you said, was awesome. Disappointing, obviously. Tough loss there, but we got to regroup. We'll take advantage of a couple extra days here to try to get some guys that have been banged up and playing through some injuries and all that, because certainly at this point in the season that happens. But we'll take advantage of a couple extra days here, and then we got to move forward full speed ahead to Akron. And as much as it's disappointing and frustrating, we got to move forward here because this is obviously a competitive conference from top to bottom. Everybody sits at 2-2 in the West except for Northern Illinois, and a lot of games still with that'll have a significant impact on how things shake out.
I think that's the ultimate takeaway from Saturday is, like, yes, there's a disappointment that you didn't get the win, but then when you draw back and look at it big picture and you look at that standings graphic that the MAC put out and you see everybody except for a team you still have to play sitting at 2-2, Bryce, you realize how much everything that you still won is still in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. As Coach Neu stated, we know how the MAC conference kind of works, and how it's very unpredictable. You never know what happens week in and week out, especially reaching this final stretch where, MAC's in play and these midweek games are kind of going, anything's possible. But, as he stated, we have to control what we can control, and, that's trying to go 1-0 each week. And so, if we don't take care of business, nothing else matters. So, like he said, it's back to the drawing board. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from college, especially just being an athlete. It's always kind of a what's next mentality, good or bad. I'm not going to really ponder on too much. Rewatch it, learn from it, and then it's how do we get better from there.
Was there a turning point in your eyes, Mike, of where things it felt like, for me, it was the Jay Sean Jackson touchdown that wasn't, and then things kind of turned on a nail. What happened in your eyes there?
Well, no question about that. And even before that, obviously to start the game, to take a drive down the field, score a touchdown, defense came out, did a great job of forcing a punt there. And then the next drive that we had just gotten a first down there, and then we had a fumble on the exchange. It was just simply a zone read play that we run a bunch, and we had an exchange problem there. And obviously that cost us because we put our defense in a bad position there. We're obviously, we had a drive going. Who knows what ends up shaking out there if we get ourselves into a 14-0 lead or 10-0 lead. And, obviously we battled back and forth, went into halftime, with the score 16-10. And then, to come back out in the second half and take the ball. Defense did a great job again getting a stop to start the second half. We went down the field, we scored, and defense got another stop. And as you mentioned, just a very untimely penalty. Obviously, Jay Sean did a great job. Justin was doing a great job blocking after the ball was thrown, and untimely penalty. We can dissect it, we can talk about it all we want, but it was called. And, it was frustrating. And then, certainly we had a couple other penalties there that were just untimely, certainly you can't have if you're trying to win football games against a good team.
Just from a football 101 perspective, how are there not more fumbled handoffs on those read option pulls? Because I feel like I watched it happen in slow motion with when Drew decided to pull it out. The way that play works is you leave your hands on the football until maybe the last second when you take it away from the running back. It seems like one of those things that is ripe for something like that to happen, but it doesn't. Walk me through the physics of how those plays work.
Yeah, obviously that's why you practice. You go through that, a ton of reps in practice, a ton of reps. Even if it's not in team periods, you still go through that. Just when you work with the running backs on what we call tracks, you're working on exchanges, you're working on mesh points, all those things. And so you practice it over and over. It's something that you run every single week, even whether it's in spring ball, whether it's in training camp, whether it's in a game, you run it every single week. So, obviously it's there's a read to be made by the Q, and obviously for us, we didn't get that handled in terms of, putting the ball on the ground there, something that just can't happen.
Bryce, what's your read on, I asked Coach the turning point in his mind. Where do you think things kind of flipped around? Because you seemed like you were in control for a lot of the game.
Yeah, I don't really like, pinpointing one exact moment. I'm with Coach, I feel like it was a collective thing that kind of overflowed. I think we had 5+ penalties in the second half alone, just uncharacteristic things on our part, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and then, if you kind of let people, hang in the game and, it's going to be competitive, there's always that chance, and we know our conference, every game's going to be competitive, and it comes down to the small details, and, they were able to do those and execute at a higher level than we were, and that's why they ended up being victorious. So it's back to the drawing board. We got to find out to be a better version of ourselves as a team, and that starts with everyone looking at themselves individually, me included. I got to figure out a way I can be better, and so I don't like pinpointing one exact moment, but like I said, we got out executed it, and they came out on top.
What did you guys like about Saturday?
I always feel like for the past couple of weeks we've competed really hard, offensively, defensively, special teams. As a competitor and as a leader on the team, this definitely makes me happy. As a defense, I feel like we fought hard. It was good to see the offense come out and compete all 4 quarters. So for me, it was just the fact that we came out and played hard for all 4 quarters, and I feel like we definitely put it on the line for each other.
You got Brandon Martin back. Talk about playing hard.
Yeah.
That's the conscience of playing hard. What was it like? What difference did it make for you guys?
Great feeling. I can remember when he came out for his first play, and you're kind of in the moment because you're in the game, but him running out, it kind of just gave me chills knowing he was back, and he was in the red zone. He made a great one-on-one open field tackle, and it kind of just speaks to him as a player. He's only practiced sparingly these past 2 weeks, and we threw him right into the fire when he was given the go-ahead to go ahead and play, and he came in and made an extra contribution, and I only know the more he gets his feet wet these next couple weeks, the more he'll get acclimated and just start doing what 7 does, and so it was great to have him in and just keep fresh bodies on the field. Clayton, he's had a lot of reps these past couple weeks, so to be able to kind of be the yin to his yang and give some of those inside backers a breather was a great thing for us as a defense.
Mike, I think his impact was felt even on a negative play. Like the first touchdown that Miami threw, he got his hands on. So I guess, what did you think watching what he did on that play and the impact that he makes?
Well, that speaks to his instincts. Obviously, he was ready and he reacted quickly because of how instinctual he is, and he got his hands on it. But just like Bryce said, when you see him come back and the smile on his face and the love for the game, and you kind of get up close to him, and whether it's in pregame warm-up or it's leading up the events leading up to the game, you can kind of get close to him, talk to him a little bit about the game. You can just see chills on his arm because he's excited to be back doing something that he loves, and he's put in a lot of hard work. Sometimes it's been because he's had an injury or setback, and he's had to put in a bunch of hard work to try to get himself back. But, man, just to see the smile on his face and the love for the game, and that's how he plays too. You see those same things in his play. And, it's a tough day, but this team will bounce back. Obviously, you can talk all you want about the game. You can dissect it, but we lost a turnover battle. That's something we won 3 straight weeks when we won the game. When you're playing in a competitive conference, you can't do that. You lose a turnover battle. That's tough sled, man. It's tough to overcome that. So you can talk about a lot of things, but we lost the turnover battle, and we had some untimely penalties there in the second half that were self-inflicted wounds. That we eliminate those, and perhaps we're talking about a different outcome.
I'm going to get to the turnover battle here in a second, but one more thing on Beamar, just in terms of usage. Do you have to be careful with him coming off of the knee injury that he had? And it looked like he played a lot in red zone situations. Is there a specific reason for why he's critical in that part of the field?
Well, I mean, obviously, Coach Stockton does such a good job of rotating the guys, and I can completely leave it up to Coach Stockton and the defensive staff there. Obviously, Clayton's played a bunch of football. Jay Thomas has played a bunch of football. There was times when they were all 3 in the game at the same time. So it all, kind of depends on where we're at on the field. What's the personnel that we're seeing from Miami? What's the area of the field? Are we in the red zone or third down? So there's different certainly personnel packages based on what they have on the field, and then certainly for us, making sure we do the best we can to keep our guys fresh and to keep them in a good situation.
Head coach Mike Neu joining us, Bryce Cosby as well. This is the Birdfeed Live, breaking down the Cardinals' homecoming game against Miami this past Saturday. They are off this weekend, and then it's midweek action. This tells you where my head was at. I went to ballstatesports.com today, and it said Cardinals getting set for a matchup with Akron on national television. I went, the game got picked up for national TV. Then I realized, it's the midweek games. They're always on national TV. It's the season goes quickly on you here. Bryce, Coach talked about the turnover battle. I just want to get your opinion on this from a defensive standpoint. The interception at the end of the game that sealed the deal for Miami, walk me through how difficult a play that is as a safety. Like, not fun to watch it back because it's the other team. But in context, that's an incredible play, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good play. I feel like any defensive player, when there's an opportunity to make the play on the ball, whether it was a gimme or, you had to reach out and go get it, simply making the play is a great task within itself. At the end of the day, when it's decision time and the plays to be made, you have to make the play. And, they did that. So it was a great play, and, it was unfortunate for us. But, like I said, we're kind of just moving on and, ready to take on Akron.
Mike, is that one of those things where, I don't know, what do you say to Drew? Because it's not a bad read. That's a tough situation as a quarterback.
Yeah, it's when you throw a corner route like that, and the corner, Jay Sean was running that corner route. He had leverage before the ball was snapped on the corner. He caught 2 of those already early in the game, and so missed a little bit inside, which when you're throwing that ball and you're certainly get into it a tighter space, which was, we were on the 19-yard line, and you got to throw it outside. So if we do miss on it, it's outside and not inside. And so, he left the ball a little bit inside. And as Bryce said, you got to give 21 credit because people don't realize how hard, you think it's easy, but when you make the available play, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. And that's what happened. You made a play on the ball and took advantage of the play, or took advantage of the opportunity we had won. And certainly I know Drew wishes he had it back, but we all live and learn, and it's football, and you got to bounce back. You got to show mental toughness, and you got to move on to the next one, because there's nothing we can do to rewind it and change anything. We got to move forward here full speed ahead, because a lot of football left to be played, and things change rapidly in our conference. And Northern Illinois goes on the road to Kent State. Obviously, we go on the road to Akron. A lot of games with things can change rapidly, and so all we got to worry about is just us. And we got to put our, get a couple of our guys that are banged up healthy this week, and get a chance to rep some of the young guys here tomorrow in practice, and kind of see where they're at in terms of development, and then get back after it. Our guys are on the road recruiting today, taking advantage of that extra day, but we'll be excited to get back to work and have a great week here preparing for Akron.
So it's the Cardinals and Miami this past weekend. It is the Cardinals and Akron coming your way on Tuesday for the start of midweek action. Bryce, we'll turn the page to Akron here in just a second, but let's talk about midweek stuff. What's unique and fun for you once all of this starts to come into play?
I think, around this time of the year, it's some of the most important football in our conference. These are meaningful games, these next 4 games. Every game's going to count. And it's just a good feeling as a competitor to be able to play for something. There's something on the line week in and week out. And you should feel like that every week. But, now that we're at the tail end of the season, it's that much more intensified. So
it feels like the spotlight's on you.
Exactly. And as a competitor, that's what you want, essentially. And so, for me, the most fun part about these midweek games are, the importance of each and every one of them. And, simply the fact that, we were able to play on a national stage. Some weekend, Saturday games, we're not going to get the go-ahead in front of Alabama or Ohio State for some of those primetime games. So, these midweek games give us a chance to play on a national audience, in front of a national audience where, a lot of our family and friends can watch the game. And, I think, the college football community looks forward to this point of the year, midweek action. So,
Barstool Big Cat really does.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So, I think it's good for everybody, with Monday night football, Thursday night football. Now that Maxon's involved, you got football all week. So,
Do you get text messages from people like back at DuPont Manual who are like, I was flipping through the channels and there was my man Bryce Cosby on a Tuesday night?
Yeah, absolutely. I can always expect, somebody I haven't talked to in a while to, send me a video or something of me playing on a Maction game. So, I'm really looking forward to it, and, I can't wait for these opportunities.
Mike, what does it do to you as a head coach? Because I remember the administration prior to yours used to hang signs on the doors that would say, like, today is Tuesday. And Brandon Newman, also now at Barstool, but when he played in the program, he used to walk into the hallways and be like, today is Friday. Today is not Tuesday. And, like, how do you keep things straight in your mind when you get, because you're on your schedule, not the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah, I don't get caught up on that. We play on Tuesday night, so if Tuesday is normally a Saturday, then you just work yourself backwards and say, okay, Wednesday would be the day after the game. That's when we clean things up. We lift. The next day they're off. Well, Friday is like a Tuesday for us. And you can say whatever you want. You can call it whatever you want. That's how I work. That's how we work. Right. Tuesday will be how we would normally practice, or Friday will be how we would normally practice on a Tuesday, and just kind of leave it at that. And, it's, as Bryce mentioned, going back to your previous statement about text messages, people watch. Obviously it's been really cool to get some text messages from guys that I've crossed paths with during my scouting days that are general managers in the NFL. They watch.
Cool.
Because on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, you're a scout at heart. And so you're watching, there's an opportunity to watch on your TV and evaluate guys, not only from our team, but from our conference. And so it's cool because you're a football junkie and that's what you do. And you watch football when it's on TV because it's giving you a different angle or different perspective on how to evaluate somebody.
And Bryce, I'm sure that message is not lost on you because, like, I know it's the team, but you're a guy that has designs on wanting to play football at a next level. Like, you have to, I'm sure, take to heart the idea that these are elevated levels of job interviews that you get when you play these types of games.
Yeah, I think one thing Coach Neu has always taught me and everybody else on the team is that every day is an interview. So, I take practice, meetings, games. I always feel like, somebody's watching and that I have something to prove. And so, whether we're playing in front of 100,000 people, 15, I always feel like I got to put my best foot forward. So I just, try to take that personally and put the best brand of football that I can for my team, myself and my family. And so it's definitely a great opportunity, and it's something that you cherish and appreciate, the fact that, you'll be able to showcase your talents in front of scouts and things of that nature. But as I stated, Coach Neu, he's always told us that, every day is an interview. So, I just try to take every opportunity, whether that be a meeting, a lift, practice, walkthrough, game, with the same mindset, the same mentality to just try to go out there and prove myself.
Bryce Cosby joining us, Mike Neu as well, here on the Birdfeed Live, presented by Varsity House. Does it matter in recruiting, Mike? Like, is it a great chance for prospects to get their eyes on you? And, Spizak and I were laughing on the radio the other day. Like, it looked like you had a small colony of people like they just never ended coming out onto the field pregame, and it was like the West Side Story was about to break out because they just surrounded the field. You had a big weekend in recruiting, and then it leads right into this national spotlight. That has to be really big for the program.
It is, and you credit guys like Bryce Cosby, and you credit the guys on our football team and in our program that have worked awful hard to help us get where we're at. People and young men in high school, they want to be a part of it because of the hard work that guys like Bryce and our kids, our young men of our program have put in. So we've got a record number here, 270-plus recruits on Saturday, and to see the field, 3/4 of the way full for pregame warm-up, 3 or 4 deep, that's awesome. It's something you work hard for, and certainly our coaches are on the road today, and there's a lot of positive things happening here right now, and certainly Saturday was tough, but there's a bigger body of work there, and there's recruits and families and all that look at the whole picture, and they see what our young men do in the classroom. They see how they represent themselves in the community. Some of the postseason awards are up for some of the preseason awards with Bryce being an academic All-American, 13th time in the history of our program. There's some special things happening because of the people and the young men in our program, and so that never stops. Recruiting never stops, and certainly now there's an opportunity to be seen, in consecutive weeks, by recruits. They're watching football too on Tuesday night and Wednesday. You better believe that, and so they're watching as well, and it's a chance to get your program an opportunity to be seen and get some exposure in the national spotlight.
Do you get a plaque for that, by the way, the academic All-American?
I know there's something in the facility where they list all the academic All-Americans, and the last one on there was Zane Fakes, and so he was coaching when I got here. So, I think my name would be put up on that, just like for the all-conference guys for athletics. So. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Live on forever in the walls of the Fisher football complex.
That's pretty special. When you can have the type of career that he's had on the field and be one of the best to ever play here at that position, not only at that position, but defensively, and to earn all conference accolades. And then, oh, by the way, just turn your head to the other side of the hallway, and he's up there for one of the most incredible awards off the field for academics. That's special.
Mike, real quick on the wrap up the recruiting note too. 270, you said, was that the number? Perspective for me, like how many is that, and how hard is it? Because you're competing. Everybody wants to have players come to their schools on recruiting weekends. How hard is it to draw that interest for one weekend? Like, how big a deal was this?
The behind the scenes work from our graduate assistants and Dan Reineck, who is obviously taken on he was a graduate assistant a couple years ago, and now he's a recruiting and operations assistant, if you will. But between his work and all of our graduate assistants, they're reaching out to these young men through emails, through social media, and attacking it. And so really the behind the scenes work from that group of men to help facilitate obviously the interest level, and there was other games in the state of Indiana being played at home that could attract those young men to those places. And so for all of them to be here just speaks to the hard work of a group of guys that people don't see that work behind the scenes, and how hard and how much time they invest as well. Late at night when you're done drawing pictures, late at night when you're done breaking down film, you're hitting people up on social media, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into that.
I don't know which other games in the state of Indiana you could have been talking about this weekend. I have no idea. But that's a good sign for you guys that you were able to get almost 300 of them to come here. Mike Neu joins us, Bryce Cosby as well. It is the Birdfeed Live presented by Varsity House. The Cardinals are on the road against Akron coming up next Tuesday, not tomorrow. If it was tomorrow, we'd be in trouble because these guys would have a place to be. But let's talk about the Zips a little bit. And it's incredibly early, but when you have a week like this, it's not a bye week, it's not a game week. How do you guys attack kind of the extra time?
Well, first priority is just taking care of your body. With these extra bonus days, that's the number one priority for all of us. Because you get in, especially with us, we just went 8 weeks straight. And so you kind of get into the routine of things, and by this point we're already game prepping for the next game. So now that we got a couple bonus days, we're really honing in on just trying to take care of our body. Obviously, you get extra time to prepare on your opponent, which is a blessing within itself. But I think the biggest thing and the main priority, especially with us playing a lot of older guys, is just the emphasis on getting as healthy as possible. Everyone really honing in on the treatment room, doing whatever we need to do to take care of any bruises or bumps that, you know, we might have acclimated throughout the season, so we can feel our best health-wise going into the final stretch of the season.
Mike, we talked about academic All-American with Bryce Cosby. Akron's got a guy, wide receiver, Kanata Mumfield, mid-season freshman All-American. Do you know I don't know, like this might be a Byron Ellis question. Like, do you know the criteria for MAC Freshman of the Year this year? Like, do you have to be a freshman this year? Can you be a third-year freshman? Like, could you have played last year and gotten the year back and you're still a freshman? Because it looks like it's that young man against a man of steel that you guys hand the ball off to quite a bit. And if that's the battle, that's really cool because there's not a whole lot of other freshmen that are playing, like real freshmen that are playing in the league right now.
Yeah, I honestly don't know who can be grouped into that category. Is it somebody that was a freshman last year that was able to exercise the COVID? I really couldn't, you know, I keep track of guys right now by what year they are in school and how much time they have left in terms of getting their degree. So it's too hard to figure all that out. But, you know, obviously, you know, he's playing well and made a lot of plays for him so far, and you know, obviously that's the thing about this team. I know their record is their record, but you can see them playing hard on film, and they're getting better. And I know how hard Tom Arth has worked to try to improve their program, and you can see it on tape. They're getting better and better each week. It's a tough conference, and obviously I know he's preaching a lot of the same things that perhaps were preached, you know, when you're starting a program and you're trying to help change things and improve each and every week and trying to stay positive. But you can see him on film getting better each and every week and competing. You see it, you know, 2 quarters, 3 quarters are competing, then all of a sudden a thing or two might happen down the stretch that might make the score look a little bit more lopsided than the game really was, because they're competing with some good teams through 2 and 3 quarters, and all of a sudden something might happen late.
When you look at kind of where they're at and how long it's been since you've played them, I think in 2017 was the last time you guys got together. Is there a difference between, you just played Miami, you play them every year, you know those guys, you're familiar with those guys. Is there a difference in preparation for you looking at an unfamiliar opponent that, like, it's a familiar unfamiliar? Like, you pop on the tape, you're like, who are these guys?
No, I wouldn't say there's any difference. You know, at the end of the day, they're in the MAC conference, we're in the MAC conference. And then, you know, the beauty of, you know, college football is, you know, when we're watching some of these other opponents, you know, you're going to see Akron on tape, you know, so there's some type of familiarity with you know, people in the conference, whether they're on the East or the West. And so, you know, through film study on other teams, you learn to see things from other opponents and, you know, some of the guys that stick out for their team. And I think, you know, that's how coaches and players become familiar with each other. You know, you watch people week in and week out, and, you know, the same guys are popping up. You know, that's how you kind of see who's about what in the conference. So there's no difference for me, in my opinion, in terms of just how we prepare, even though we haven't played them in a couple years. You know, at the end of the day, they're in our conference, and you know, they're on the schedule. So they're next up, and that's the priority at hand right now. So, like I said, just working to get everyone right health-wise, and then we'll take Akron on head on.
Cardinals still have everything in front of them this season, halfway through conference play at 2-2. Everybody else in the division is 2-2 with the exception of Northern Illinois, and the Cards still have to play them. So as long as Ball State takes care of its business, gets a little bit of help, it is still in a proverbial driver's seat coming down the stretch here. Before we let you guys go, I want to talk about youth, because when you look at the planning of this week, Mike, you talked earlier, you're going to get a chance to run a lot of the young guys in practice. One guy that played in particular, and you've talked about injuries as well, was kind of put into action because of injury. No Nick Jones this past weekend. JT Wahi gets banged up late in the game. So Jordan Riley-Scott is out there playing corner. What was it like, and Bryce, if you want to chime in here too, to see a true freshman, I know he was in for spring, but to see a true freshman go out there and be able to make an impact?
Oh, yeah. Jordan, that's my guy. Take him to the stadium every morning. I always tell him, yeah, he keeps me young. You know, he's always joking with me.
Bryce,
you're
like 22.
Yeah. College football young, because, you know, I feel like I've been here forever. But no, you know, Jordan's a freak. He's a freak athlete. And, you know, something that you love to see in a freshman, that he wants it. You know, he's willing to go get it by any means. And, you know, we always emphasize the importance of special teams, and I think that's essentially what got him his opportunity. We put him on a couple special teams units. He was going extremely hard, making plays, popping out on film every week. And, things like that give coaches that trust factor to put you on the field. And, it was certainly less than ideal situation. I asked him after the game, how it was and how he was feeling. And, he said he felt fine. But, just to come in the crunch time and simply just do his job. We didn't need him to do anything spectacular. Just come in and do what we know you're capable of doing. He's got reps throughout practice, so there wasn't any doubt on anybody in the back end's mind that, he could come in and fill in and do the job that we needed him to do. But, for me, as a guy that played as a freshman, it was just good to see that he came in and didn't blink. And, I feel like he handled his first real action in a very competitive game. At that, I feel like he handled it well.
Mike, one other guy that was out for you was Josh Tarango. That created an opportunity in the middle on the defensive line, and he's not young, but he's younger. Justin Ramsey, I thought, showed maybe one of his better games this season. Am I right there?
Well, Justin's always done. You can count on Justin to pretty much bring the same thing week in, week out. And, again, unsung type of hero, unsung type of role. Doesn't ever get enough credit for what he does. But he's been – a starter for us, and he's done a good job all last year if you look at the job that he did. And even this year, Josh was out just because he was sick. He'll be back. But, obviously it's great to see guys step up and, certainly comment on Jordan Riley. He was playing some safety early on, and then obviously because we had some injuries, he played some at corner. But I'll never forget way back the very first time we were ever going live, he was the first guy that I couldn't wait to see that day in practice when we were going live because, as Bryce said, he loves it, and he also loves contact. And so I'll never forget just the anticipation for me that morning going into practice going, I can't wait to see this. Who's it going to be that he's going to be one-on-one with in the open field, and who is he going to go completely after? So, but he is certainly a young player with a ton of upside and great work habits, and obviously love his contagious smile, and he's always got a great look on his face every morning when he's comes ready to go to work.
How much did it benefit him to be here in the spring?
I think any early enrollee, there's, like I always say, there's got to be a certain level of maturity for you to take that step. But anytime you can come in the spring, it just gives you that much more prepared for what might happen in the fall. I wish I could have came in the spring. There's no summer bridge program, which is kind of the slow acclimation process just to the weight room, kind of how things work. You come in the spring, by the time you get to the summer and your class gets here, you're not really with them. You're with us, the older guys. And, you're on our weight program, our weight plan.
You're one of the cool kids at camp now. Yeah.
Right. You're already in good with the upperclassmen. So, you're comfortable with everything. On top of that, not to mention spring ball. You've got the playbook before everybody else. So, I'd be lying if it said it didn't kind of give you a step ahead from the competition per se. But, as I stated, there's got to be a certain level of maturity to take that step and be ready to, kind of leave high school like that a semester early and come play in college. And I think, him and, Todd Baldwin, they've kind of, acclimated well and definitely fit in right away. And so, they both have bright futures, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for both of them.
Well, they got an opportunity coming up next Tuesday when the Cardinals go to Akron. That is a 7 o'clock kick, which means a 6 o'clock Northwest Bank countdown to kickoff. It is the national television stage and the return of midweek action when Ball State goes to Akron. Mike, appreciate you coming by. Bryce, appreciate you being able to find a parking spot today.
Yeah, flooding was crazy.
It's raining. There's people all over. It's always sunny in Muncie, as we say.
Right.
So, guys, good luck this week, and we will talk to you not here on Monday next week, but we'll break down the Akron game the Monday after that and roll on the back quarter of the season.
All right. Thank you.
All right, that is Bryce Cosby joining us. It is Mike Neu joining us. It is the Birdfeed Live, as always, presented by Varsity House, live on the ISC Sports Network, on YouTube, and on demand on the Chirp Cast podcast feed. Until next week, so long.
This was the Varsity House Bird Feed on the Ball State Gamebridge Network.